Good Friday evening, South Carolina Weather Watchers. I'm the host of South Carolina Weather, Justin Peterson, and let's go ahead and get into the weather for Friday. And this is the first time I've ever done this because this is actually like some potential, like severe weather is on the way. People do this and they're like, oh, like you go on like your TV station, they're like, oh, first alert or storm watch or whatever. So I'm trying to think of a good name for like storm for like to have like my name Joseph and then have something at the back, kind of like maybe like a Joseph Storm Watch or something like that. Something that has a ring to it, obviously, that I could use for when like bad weather's coming, like right now. So let's just say a Joseph alert right now. Okay, we don't obviously. That's just right now. We might keep it, we might not, but anyways, why do we have that? Well, if you look down at South Carolina right now, you can obviously see that most of us are in the clear. I know not a lot of people are really trying to get any type of rain right now. We've already got around an inch and a half of rain this week. So, what's going to happen? Well, you see this kind of like this blob of rain bringing severe weather with it right here from Michigan all the way down into Alabama, Georgia. That's going to move eastward, and that is going to bring us severe weather and flash flooding. If you have not seen it already, I made a video this morning, so I'm going to hope that y'all saw that. If you didn't, well, I recommend you go watch it because it was pretty good. And as that thing's pushing east, we obviously have these rain up here inside the mid-Atlantic. Northeast is doing pretty well right now. Do have some winter storm watches up though. And we also have some coastal flood advisories as well, coastal flood warnings, coastal flood watches. And then we have the snow up here inside the Great Lakes, and then some rain that does pretty much this like huge, kind of like this huge system right here. Northern U.S. pretty good, from California through through like Utah doing good, Nevada doing good, and actually very surprising. California is not seeing a drop of rain, or nobody in California is seeing a drop of rain right now. So very very good. They're getting a break from all that rain. The entire state is getting a break from that rain. Do have some showers up here as well inside of Washington, and this is gonna move eastward and it's going to hit us. That's why we do have some flood watches up in effect for parts of the upstate and the Midlands of South Carolina. So that is that for the radar. We won't need it again. Here is our cloud cover for today. Cloud cover for right now, obviously, with that storm system on the way, literally just to our west. There's going to be cloud cover. There's always cloud cover before a storm comes, and or even heavy rain or just rain in general. There's always cloud cover. So right now it's going to be a cloudy night. I would not recommend anybody go outside and do any types of outdoor activities. If it has to do with maybe getting like a telescope, looking up at star watching, doing all that kind of stuff, because not going to be a great night for that at all. And then as we move on to our current temperature 61 in Charleston, 62 in Columbia. That is 61 in Orangeburg. 55 in Greenville. That is 55 in Walhalla, 59 in Anderson, 59 in Rock Hill, 57 in Myrtle Beach, 62 in Beaufort, 64 in Augusta. So, even though we do have this heavy rain here on the way and these cloud cover, it's still remaining relatively, I'm not going to say relatively cool, but like relatively nice. Not really too much on the warm side, but definitely something that we could be happy for before the storm hits. Here's our minimum temperatures for tonight. Minimum temperatures though, 64. I think that's 64, 61. No, 61. Sorry, 61 for Charleston, 58 for Moncks Corner, 55 for that is Florence, 56 in Sumter, 57 in Columbia, 53 up there in the upstate, 59 for Augusta. So those are our minimum temperatures for tonight. So we're gonna have to watch out for that. And then here's our 24-hour max wind gust. 24-hour wind gusts can get to around 30 miles an hour inside of Charleston, 30 on Myrtle Beach. So pretty much if you're along the coast, 30-mile-per-hour wind gusts are potential. 21 inside of Columbia, 24 for, this is Sumter, 25 Florence. So everyone's gonna for sure see around a good 20 to 30 mile per hour wind gusts. I'm getting wind gusts at my house already of up to 5 to 10 miles an hour already. So, and pretty much I've been getting that all day. I mean, if I check right now and see what was the highest wind gust that I got today, the highest wind gust I got today was around 28 miles an hour. So my other thing says 17.7. So yeah, around 28 miles per hour, around the highest gust I got today. So definitely breezy out there for sure. Definitely breezy. Around a good 20 to 30 mile per hour wind gust pretty much for everybody. So that is that. And now here is our 24-hour precipitation totals. 24-hour precipitation totals can reach around 1.9 in. Actually, that needs to be refreshed. I'm sorry about that. It should be 7 p.m. Oh, wow. They actually did not update it. That's surprising, because they always do. Or unless that's a typo, but, I guess they did not update it yet. It's 8:10. They're kind of like an hour and 10 minutes late, but obviously we know that there's precipitation on the way. So we'll look at the total precipitation for the next 18 hours. See what that shows. If we go the full 18 hours, shows around 2.1 inches for Augusta, 1.3 for Sumter, 1.1 for Florence, almost 2 inches up there in the upstate, 1.4 for Myrtle Beach. And again, this is just one model run, so obviously this is not going to be spot on, so don't be looking like, okay, this is exactly what we're going to get. We're going to get probably more, and some of these areas are really, I think, really not represented enough. So I do think that we're going to have to wait, and I think that this probably is not too reliable since it's only one. But here is our Storm Prediction Center outlook for tonight, I should say. Mobile, Columbus, Dothan, Alabama, Pensacola, Florida, and Auburn, Alabama is now under a slight risk of severe weather. This does include a 5% chance of tornadoes, a 5% chance of damaging winds, and no chance for any hail. And we do have a marginal risk of severe weather, with only a 2% chance of tornadoes and a 5% chance of damaging winds. So, if you know anybody inside of these regions, New Orleans is inside the marginal, Montgomery is inside the marginal, Metairie, Louisiana is inside the marginal, Macon, Georgia is inside the marginal, Albany, Georgia is inside the marginal, please let them know immediately that they are under the risk for some thunderstorms tonight. And then here is the outlook for tomorrow. Obviously, we have a slight risk for pretty much most South Carolina, Columbia, Charleston, Summerville, Myrtle Beach, Florence, Orangeburg, Augusta. All of us are inside this. Savannah, Tallahassee, Jacksonville, Dothan, Alabama. Everyone that I just called out inside the slight risk. The upstate only has a marginal risk, so not really much to worry about. And really because of those mountains, really, that really makes it hard. And early morning hours as well. So here is the risk. We do have a 5% chance of tornadoes for Charleston, Columbia, Savannah, Tallahassee, Jacksonville, Orangeburg, Myrtle Beach, all those places that I just called out. And we have that 2% risk for Columbus, Gainesville, Fayetteville, North Carolina, Greenville, North Carolina, and Jacksonville, North Carolina as well. And then we do have a 5% chance of damaging hail for Savannah, Georgia, Fayetteville, North Carolina, Columbia, South Carolina, Charleston, South Carolina, and Macon, South Carolina. Not South Carolina, Macon, Georgia. So that is our tornado risk, our wind threat, and our hail risk. I'm pretty sure I did talk about the wind risk, but if I didn't, pretty much this is what it looks like. 15% for pretty much the slight risk of severe weather is the wind threat, and we do have a 5% chance inside the marginal risk as well. So that is that. Day 3. Obviously, nothing to talk about. Maybe just a couple rumbles of thunder for parts of Florida and the Pacific Northwest. And that's that. And nothing else for any type of severe weather. But that's not all that we do have to talk about, because if we go ahead and change my screen real quick, let's talk about the ingredients for tomorrow before we get on going about other days. So here we go, starting off not right now, but the 18Zs around a couple of hours ago. We had dew points in the 50s. If we go to around here, this is kind of where we are about right now. Dew points are already inside the 50. That would be kind of sustained for around marginal severe weather, not really anything. But you do realize this warm front's going to rise, and when that warm front rises, it's going to bring moisture. I mean, like intense moisture, possibly 70-degree dew points. That is a lot of moisture. It's going to be super humid tomorrow. Obviously, you know to bring your umbrella wherever you need to go if you've been paying attention for a while. But there goes that line of storms. You can see it right there. There goes the cold front. The cold front, when it pushes off, it will obviously push all of that off and bring that cold, dry air behind it. But here you go. There goes the warm front rising up, and there goes the cold front following my cursor. That's gonna push it out the way and bring back that cool, dry air. But yeah, so moisture 100% is there. I don't even really need to talk about the wind shear, because we have wind shear over us right now. But I mean, obviously you can see this huge line. There goes that cold front right around here, and obviously we're gonna have that wind shear. There's gonna be that wind shear, and it's gonna be there. Let's talk about the Cape next. Cape is obviously a really important ingredient for severe weather. And I mean, as you can see, yes, I mean there's going to be Cape. Obviously, there's going to be Cape. And you might see like these little pockets. Like, okay, well, why is there just like some little pockets just in these regions? That's because the storms are forecasted to eat up the energy, so that they can become, bad storms. And you can kind of see the blues starting to fade away. That's just because the storms are eating them up. So these storms are going to get intense, especially when you get close to the coast, I think, because but while it's eating up that fuel, it's going to be strong for when they get to the coast. So I am watching that specifically. But here it goes right there. It's off the map right there. And then we do have, we could talk about something else as well, the supercell composite. This pretty much just tells us how a thunderstorm could form, like pretty much how likely it is for a supercell to form. And yeah, I mean, it's quite obvious there will be supercells tomorrow. A 13, I think that is out of 46. And that might not seem high, but that is actually really high. And there goes a tornado signature right there. And then the significant tornado parameters is pretty much just how likely is it for a tornado to happen. This is a level 0 out of 9, I'm pretty sure. And there's some spots inside of like Georgia that's going to get like a 4. And then if you look at like places like here inside of Colleton County, 2.5, Dorchester County, almost a 3. That brings us a PDS tornado. Tomorrow's going to be a very interesting day. I do believe that if the storms get in the right environment, these storms could be nothing to mess around with. That's why there's a slight risk of severe weather. And again, I would not be surprised one bit, if we get upgraded to an enhanced tomorrow, because there's just it's really high. Honestly, a 10% hatch risk probably wouldn't even be out the question either. But I do think that the tornadoes tomorrow, if there is a tornado tomorrow, it could potentially be strong. So I'm going to say this. I'm not trying to go deep at all, but I'm just trying to say that you really do have to pay attention tomorrow. Like, I know a lot of meteorologists say this, and they're like, oh, well, it could happen, but, we're not so sure. This is the same thing that I'm saying right now. And you're not guaranteed to get hit by a tornado tomorrow. I will say that. You're not guaranteed to get hit by a tornado tomorrow. Okay, that's just what it is. That's just what it is. Not everyone is gonna get a tornado warning tomorrow. Not everyone. Somebody might just get some rain, and that's it. No wind, just some rain. Okay, that's totally possible. but it only needs to happen once, and that's what I fear the most, is that some people might not take it seriously, and the one time when they needed to take it seriously, they didn't, and they get ruined because of it. They maybe lose a family member because they didn't want to take shelter, or they decided, oh, well, I've been under multiple tornadoes, I think I can stick this out, and then it's one of the worst tornadoes of all time. Which this is not going to be, by the way. This is not going to be the worst tornado of all time. But the main thing that I'm trying to say is take these warnings seriously. If you get put under a tornado warning, take it seriously. Even though it's only a 5% risk, a 5%, 2% have verified before. We've seen it before. After I started making these videos, I talked about it. 2% have verified before. 5% can do the exact same thing. But anyways, I'm gonna stop going on my deep rant and continue talking about the weather. So looking at tomorrow, obviously, a lot of things are happening here, as you can see on the map. But I don't think this is actually updated, so I'm gonna go ahead and do on this one. So that's not what I want. All right, but anyways, so looking through. If once I push this forward, you can see that once we get to, I think, day 5, I believe it is. Day 6. No, it's 8. Okay. So here we are, right here. The CSU is pointing out some very interesting things. Obviously, the tornado forecast, they have a little bit of a 10% risk going into South Carolina. A 2% risk, obviously, for the upstate. And the wind threat, honestly, they shrunk it down a little bit. Like, they have it like a bit more cut off, but 15% risk, and then the hail threat, they do have a little 15% for Georgia, but still 5% for us. So, not really too much different, except for the little 10% here for Georgia and South Carolina. That's it. And then we do have the CIPS model, which is not really showing too much of a tornado and wind threat, which I think is completely wrong. I think for sure tornadoes and hail are definitely possible, but for some reason they don't want to show it. Now, I understand with hail, but tornadoes, yes, for sure, tornadoes are definitely possible, but for some reason the CIPS is just not showing it. So, I don't know, but it is showing the wind threat, though, really well. A 15% risk, that would be, I think that would, just around a slight risk, so, not too bad. Pretty on point, honestly, if I was to say. But that's for, obviously, tomorrow. And then we get a bit of a break until we get to around day 6, 7, and 8, to where we could potentially watch for some more severe weather on the 8th. Not on the 8th, but 8 days out. So, again, Saturday, March the 16th. We're watching for potentially some more severe weather on Saturday of next week again. But, again, it's still marginal, so obviously things are going to change. And that's that. Now let's go ahead and talk about excessive rainfall, because this is also flash flooding. Honestly, even though I'm talking about tornadoes and all that kind of stuff, flash flooding is still a big threat as well. We do have a slight risk for tonight for portions of the upstate going down into Augusta and just north, I think, of Allendale. But if you go into tomorrow, obviously, if you weren't inside the slight risk today, you're in the slight risk now. Unless you're down there near Beaufort, you might just stay in the marginal. But yes, the slight risk of excessive rainfall is in effect for most of the low country and the PD regions of South Carolina. Even the Midlands is in this as well. So flash flooding, even if you don't get severe weather tomorrow, there is a 15% chance that you can see flash flooding. So we're just waiting to see what happens. Tomorrow is going to be a huge day. The day 1 through 3 winter storm impacts, obviously nothing, because winter storms is not impacting us right now. And I do want to look at one thing, and that is the excessive rainfall. Not for, any other day. I just want to go for just tomorrow, just to see what it looks like. And if you go to the 8th, and we go to day 2, honestly, they're showing a lot, mainly a slight risk. Honestly, they kind of do agree with what the the Weather Prediction Center is saying. So honestly, I think that these models are doing pretty well with trying to identify what's going on here. So I'm going to say that they probably are something that we could possibly trust. Here's the ARRR just for today, but honestly, this is just today, so I'm not really paying attention. And now, I think that about... Actually, no, it's not, because I actually want to show you all this. So this is obviously for today, but I want to go to tomorrow. And yep, here it is. The chance for that severe weather and that heavy rain / flash flooding is here, obviously, tomorrow for between 7 a.m. Saturday, 7 a.m. Sunday. So tomorrow's gonna be a huge day. I will try to get a morning update, a video update up tomorrow morning. I'm gonna have to wake up early because I do have to be somewhere by 10 o'clock. So if I do upload a video, it will be up definitely probably before 10. If I do it after 10, that means it's gonna be an afternoon video. But if I do one in the morning, I will be somewhere in between 10 a.m. 12 p.m. So a video will definitely not. So if I don't upload a video at like 10 a.m., you can probably just wait till the afternoon at that point. But that is that. And we have one more thing that we have to talk about before we head off, and that's what the future can hold. So we push this forward. Obviously, here goes that system. That's going to move out of here. And then we're going to be taken over by a high pressure. And then the Pacific Northwest is going to start getting its act back together with all the snow and rain. And our focus is going to shift over there. We're going to have some nice sunshine and rainbows for a couple of days until like a potential next rain event comes through on the 15th, the 16th, and then the 17th, to where this system's going to come through. Now, right now, we're way too far out to talk about what this could do, because remember the 17th was the day that we would have to watch for some severe weather. Right now, it's only just a marginal risk, but it's still 8 days out, so we're still very uncertain. We push that forward, and then this is something that we're really going to have to watch for if this does develop. This is on March the 24th, 300 hours out, so this is way too far out to discuss, but if this does happen, March the 24th could be a pretty big day for us. Definitely flash flooding, gusty winds, and not yet talking about severe weather. But, I mean, just to see if the ingredients are there. The ingredients, you can see right here, are definitely there. We have that there. If you're going ahead and look at the 500 millibar thing, the 850 millibar things, that's obviously there. And then Cape, is the Cape there? Well, the Cape is, yeah, we kind of do have some marginally Cape, but again, that's why I'm saying it's way too far out. But yeah, we're just gonna have to wait and see what happens. Thank y'all so much for watching. And I will definitely be back tomorrow. I will say, though, that if we do get a tornado warning, or if we do get a considerable or destructive severe thunderstorm warning, I will probably go live to cover it. So watch for YouTube notifications, especially around the 12 to 5, in between really 12 and 5 p.m. because that is a big time frame for, I think, when this thing will happen. So watch for sure. And we'll see what happens then. Also, I just want to kind of just test out, see how severe weather coverage goes. Obviously, who knows how long I'm going to be live for. It could, hopefully for when the event is over. But it's just, we're just going to have to wait and see, figure out what happens. But yes, thank you all so much for watching. Make sure you hit the notification bell so when I do go live, if a tornado warning takes place or if a severe thunderstorm warning thing takes place, you will be notified immediately. And I will see y'all tomorrow. Maybe a lot, but I'll see y'all tomorrow with another forecast update and maybe a live stream.